Candace Carter, Thoughts to Go, in English, which is going to be maybe not too easy for me because it's kind of German experiences, and I need to translate them into an English form. I'll do my best. Okay. On May 21st, Joseph Beuys would have been 100. Beuys is a very important German artist from, let's say, the 60s to 70s until his death, which I think was 1986, was for me personally important. But now, I mean, we're just drowning in both Beuys' praise and Beuys' criticism. And what I'm picking up on is that we really have a hard time if we can't figure out in what drawer to put someone. Now, you can't, there's no box for Beuys, yeah? You can't put him in this box or in this box, and you can't take him out of this box and put him in this box, which is what people are doing now, talking about him, and they idolize him and they say he's from the devil. So, big deal. It's just what's happening is that people are dealing with their own fears, dreams, visions, hopes, and any figure like Beuys is going to open that place in your head and soul that you're not sure what to do with. So, I will be talking about this theme using Beuys' example for people that never live in a box and that we can't get back in the box for good or for worse the next few times, I think. And today all I want to do is read something from Beuys. 25 years ago, my God, I had a performance. It was called Aus dem Kontext, you know, taken out of the situation, put in a new situation. I took texts from people over a time span of maybe several thousand years, and I let them talk to each other. You know, they communicated what I found out, which I believed and I wanted to illustrate in this performance, is that there are a lot of truths out there that keep popping up over the centuries, and strangely enough, we don't always, you know, remember them, or we think we've just made them up new, but they're not. They're there, and you can, it's helpful for your life if you know this. So I let these people just trade around, and I'm going to tell you the names of the people that were involved that I used when I took them out of their context. Most of them are, no, that's not true. They're not all German. A lot of Germans, you know, you may not know them all, but they're fun to Google, you know. Ingeborg Bachmann, Christa Wolf, Joseph Beuys, Hildegard from Bingen, Johannes vom Kreuz, Gertrud von Le Fort, Pablo Neruda, Ernesto Cardenal, Salomo, Camille and Paul Claudel, Alice Walker, John Irving, Elisabeth von Dijon, Frida Kahlo, Bert Hellinger, Eddie Hillesum und Simone Weil. In addition, we worked with the Sermon on the Mount from the Lucas and the Johannes books of the Bible. We were 4 women. We had a stage, and on this stage, when one of the persons talked, we moved to these different symbols and objects. When Joseph Beuys was speaking, my friend Sabina, who took part, stood in a bathtub. So, I have freely translated the quotes that Beuys used in his discussion, and it's not perfectly translated. I think it will work though. So the first time he's talking to Elizabeth from Dijon, and she says something like that suffering is a sacramental presence. And Beuys answers and says, suffering is a specific tone in the world. You can hear it. You can see it. Once you become open to this truth, you begin to know suffering as a permanent, precious source of renewal, an invisible, visible, sacramental substance, providing nutrition and rejuvenation for the world. It is questionable who does more for the world, those active or those suffering. I have always been on the side of the suffering. An active individual may bring about great achievements in the world, but the sufferings of a sick, incapacitated child living an existence tied to a bed transubstantiates, becomes, the substance of Christ. Through suffering, the world becomes real with the substance of Christ. So he's talking about another type of reality, and in another text, Eddie Hillison asks, can there be more forms of reality? And he says, exactly. And further quote, we need to free ourselves of some set ideas. For example, a certain view of Christianity, the idea that the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ was mainly a historical event. I have always been against this type of social democratic idea, whether it came from Dorothea Sölle, Karl Barth, or Bultmann. I do not see Christ mainly as an important historical figure who gave us moral examples of how to live right. With Christ, the power of reality is in play, a reality transcending our traditional cultural identity. It is the reality behind the reality. So these are two texts on reality and what nurtures reality, and the things he's talking about don't fit in boxes. So there's definitely a lot to be said on this as to how to deal with something we run into that's so different, so strange, so exciting, and so scary at the same time. So this is what a person like Joseph Beuys did, and we're a generation farther along the line, and now people, they're still dealing with him, and mostly I think, though, they're dealing with themselves and not with Beuys. Whatever. I will be back. Next week I will be reading from my book, which is almost printed, almost ready to be on the market. And the week after that, I will be in my husband's studio again. After that, I will continue my pondering on Joseph Beuys and what the world is doing with him, has done with him, will do with him, and will do with people that just don't fit in boxes. Okay, so I wish you a good time. I hope you come back. And until then, bye-bye.